The Ifo extension camp, which lies within a kilometer of the overcrowded outskirts and can accommodate at least 40,000 refugees, is urgently needed to reduce unhealthy and dangerous overcrowding. As you will recall, on 14 July, the Prime Minister announced the government's intention to allow UNHCR to settle refugees on new land, but controversy within government continues over what some officials term security threats posed by opening the Liboi border crossing in Garissa. I think it's a matter that is still under debate, and we're hoping that the government will continue to be supportive of this initiative so that we can minimize the threats. We do have plans to respond. We do have operational capacity. We do have the humanitarian space that is required. And what we need from our own assessment is the capacity to scale up the response so that we can respond to needs in Turkana, in Moyale, in Garissa, in Wajir, and also around the host community in Dadaab, in addition to meeting the needs of the refugees. So we need resources to scale up, and this is what we're working with the government and other partners and the donors as well, to try and raise the necessary resources and respond.
We regard this crisis as a crisis for children and a crisis for child survival, a crisis for reversing the gains Kenya has made, both in improvement in survival of children and also the gains made already in education. I will elaborate a little bit on this. Given the surveys that have been done in June to quantify the magnitude of the problem, many districts in Kenya have shown elevated levels of malnutrition. In parts of the Greater Turkana, global acute malnutrition, children too small, too light for their age and for their length, has already reached over 35%. Precisely in Turkana, global acute malnutrition rates were recorded at 37.5%. This situation is to some extent being contained, but we do have indications from several districts, including Moyale, where I returned from yesterday, that the number of children now requiring admission for immediate humanitarian response is increasing. So the crisis is with us. Situation is likely to deteriorate unless measures are put in place now and urgently to mitigate the impact of the drought.
UNHCR started to relocate the Somali refugee currently living in the outskirts of the refugee camps to the new site that was formally given to us by the Prime Minister about a week ago on the 14th July, exactly. So we have started by setting up approximately 300 tents in which we have moved the first 1,500 people, Somali refugees, I mean. Of course, the idea is in the next several weeks, we will try to clear the outskirts of the camps. The outskirts of the camp host nearly 80,000 people. Most of them have come this year, since the beginning of the year, and they have no place in the formal camp, so they sat. And I think those of you who have gone there have seen them sitting on the outskirts of the camp in very difficult conditions. So we're pleased to inform you that we start moving them formally to this new site. The Ifo camp, which has the largest number of refugees living in the outskirts, has roughly 30,000 people sitting in lands that are going to be flooded in the next couple of months when it starts raining. So we are sort of racing against time to move them out of there before the first rain coming. Again, all those refugees sitting in the outskirts of the camp on lands that belong to the host community, basically generating tension with the host community. So we've been working again with the host community to clear that particular problem, and we believe that by moving them to new sites, well-organized sites, we will reduce, if not put an end together, to the tension with the host community.